In this video we're going to learn how to choose native ad images. Now the images that you can see on the screen at the moment, they are all taken from live native ad campaigns from around the web. So let's look at some top tips on how to choose images. My favourite 3 top tips are to pick an image which catches attention, calls out to your target market and is consistent with your headline and content. Now remember, the ad image is what you use to grab the attention. It's to snap people out of their autopilot and draw them to your particular advert. Leave the explaining of the value that they're going to get to the headline, where you can have a little bit more detail. The ad image and the content image should be congruent. They don't have to be exactly the same. We discussed this previously when we looked at consistency, but they should be congruent in the same category. So in this example, we've got the guy running. It's obviously a fitness article, and then when you click through to the article on the right hand side, you can see the content. It's about aging and exercise, and it's got the imagery there, which is consistent with the article as well. Now let's have a look at some of the things which people are drawn to in images. People like people, especially if they're smiling, happy or look alluring. In fact, we're wired to pay attention to people's faces and to notice them immediately. And this is probably something that's evolved as a survival trait throughout human development. But it's very powerful, and it means we're very quickly drawn to images of people, particularly if they look happier. People are drawn to notice unexpected or unusual things. Again, we considered this when we talked about consistency and congruence, and also when we looked at picking headlines. People are drawn to things which kind of shake them out of their automatic programming, and they don't have to be enormously weird. They just have to be slightly weird for people to pay attention. And you look at those 3 images there. One of them's pretty scary. The one on the far right, pretty scary ancient photo of a woman. It looks like a young girl in a wedding dress. And then obviously there's what looks like a plastic surgery gone wrong in the middle. And then the third one takes a little bit of while to understand what it is, but it's probably a pair of feet side by side. And each of these images would cause you to take a double take and draw your attention to it. Let's have a look at the next one. People like money. Yeah, people do like money. I mean, after all, that's why we're doing this. And because of that, people are drawn to images of money. There's a lot of research which suggests that it might not necessarily be that people like money, but they just get excited by it. And that even just the image of a dollar sign can change their behavior and attracts people's attention. People like celebrities. Again, people like stuff about people, and particularly about celebrities, and especially if they can make fun of them, which is why there are so many of these tabloid papers and magazines around just criticising and photographing celebrities. But it shouldn't be underestimated for marketing or using as ad images. People like food. Again, this is probably an evolutionary thing, but we're drawn to notice images of food. And in fact it connects with us and our emotions and our feelings very quickly. So food is a good subject for a native ad image. People like their hobbies and interests, and in fact people is one of the categories of highest spending for people is on their hobbies and pastimes. So, and using hobbies and pastimes is a really good way to call out a certain target market. Like an image of someone playing golf is far more likely to attract someone who is interested in golf. And an image of someone exercising is far more likely to attract someone who has an interest in sports or fitness or health. People also identify fears very quickly. And in fact, people identify fears far quicker than pleasures. So you can use imagery which contains subjects of fear to certain categories of people, certain groups of people, and this will attract their attention very quickly. And quite often people are more motivated to move away from fear, so they might be more motivated to click on an article which shows something of fear. Here we've got someone overweight and missiles and obviously spiders, but anything that could be categorized as a fear that someone would want to avoid can be highly motivating and attract the attention as an image. And of course the next one is probably the oldest one in history. Sex sells. It does. Attractive looking women, attractive looking men, we're drawn to it. Every single human being pretty much is drawn to identify sexual shapes and sexual objects. That's just the way it is, and that's more true for men, but it's true in a different way for women as well. And the last one, people are drawn to what they desire. Again, this is the move towards. We just discussed it when we talked about headlines. Moving away, which would be the fears, and moving towards is images of things they desire, and people will click to find out more about things they desire. For me personally, I would click on the middle image there because I'm like, I want to go swim in that swimming pool. That would interest me, so I would definitely click. And yeah, it's another great way. It's also a very good way to call out your target audience, because if it's imagery which is specific to a particular group of people and what they desire, then obviously they're far more likely to notice it and far more likely to click on it. And in the last slide of this video, I'm just going to show you how you can find royalty-free images labelled with a license for reuse. And it's simple. You can do it inside Google. Simply search for your image in the Google search bar, go to Google Images, and then you can click on the Search Tools button, which is underneath the search bar, and then select Labeled for Reuse. You can see it in the picture on the screen, and that will bring up images that you can use royalty-free with a license to use them. So there's no problems or hassle or copyright issues using those images. And that's it. In this episode we've discussed the top tips for choosing an image. We've discussed the main motivating factors of different types of images, and I've shown you how you can find free images to use in your advertising and marketing. Join me in the next video where we're going to look at the importance of providing value in your native ad content.